other than your busy work, what else you did to make the world better?
What I want to share with you is that I spent a good number of time, not in terms of hours, but rather years, doing voluntary work. I spent 2 or 3 years as being a member of the Rotary Foundation, more than 10 years as part of Toastmasters International. I spent 3 to 4 years as a mentor to the internationally trained professionals to help them find a job. I did spend 10 years as vice president on the board of the Sheridan Park Credit Union. I also was a judge in STEM and the design of bridges.
You spent 10 years in Toastmasters International Club. So why do you want to spend most of the time over there?
It's quite a long story. You could see 10 years of my life, it's a lot of time. So in the first 4 or 5 years, I finished all the things which I need to do, and I ended up being awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest award that you could get in Toastmasters. So through that club, I have over the years maybe more than 100 members who followed the Toastmasters program, and really at the end of the day, I think they end up as being a better version of themselves. Maybe they get a promotion at work. So Toastmasters really help the public in their professional life as well as in their personal life.
How did Toastmasters help you?
I think we all hate giving up speech. So you first start with so-called a kind of a icebreaker, and then a series of speech. So really, for me to get my distinguished Toastmaster, I must have done about 40 plus speeches, and then I have done a lot of other projects. Some of them like leadership projects. You must be a kind of being a leader at the club level, and also try to be a leader at the district level.
You also gain friendship.
That's a byproduct. It is a given. Because really, when you go in a program, like for example, you meet the same people week after week. After a while, they become your friends, and a lot of them are your lifelong friends. So that it's really amazing because they come from different walks of life. They could be accountants, engineers, or whatnot, because maybe you have certain expertise to share with them. So it's a two-way traffic.
Yeah. So I also noticed that you also a mentor for the international trade professional. So why do you want to volunteer over
Exactly.
there?
I was very lucky when I came here because I have my degrees from England. So I had no problem having my credentials being accepted. But there are so many internationally trained professionals who come from, say, France or Germany or Africa, and their degrees are not quite accepted. It is really critical that now that they are landed immigrants, it is so important for them to get their first job. Because if you don't get a first job within the first year or second year, where you start just taking any other job just to be able to keep food on the table, then you're on a very dicey path. No wonder why you hear stories about that the taxi driver that you hail has a PhD in physics. Despite the fact that they are really well qualified, they didn't manage to get their first Canadian experience. So it is so important to get that first Canadian experience. So there's this organization, the Peel Multicultural Society, where the newcomers go and register. They say, hey, I want to be a mentee, so somebody could help me find a way. So there, I go there as a mentor, so that organization will try to match me with one of the potential mentees. Those who go to that agency could be doctors, engineers, or scientists. Me being an engineer, of course, I would like to mentor an engineer. It only makes sense. I'm not going to counsel them on the technical part, because it is assumed that they are fully qualified. So really, I'm giving them the soft skills, how we should maybe behave. I want to say that it is quite a draining experience, because here I am sitting with somebody, a human, and I'm trying my very best to do what I could to help him find his first Canadian job. It is so important for him to make that breakthrough, because otherwise I worry that he might that Canada may be the wrong place for him.
So do you think is it fair for the engineer who come from other country but they're not able to do the engineer job here right away?
I mean, because the world is so big, we don't know what are the standards. And of course, here we have this professional engineering of Ontario who try to grade them. And that's why you cannot work as an engineer right away. And even if you get your first job, you're like an engineer in training, so that you're working under the wing of a fully qualified engineer who's going to take full responsibility, and you're just really learning the job. I think that's a correct approach. I don't think it is unfair. This is how the system should be.
Do you have the engineer license or?
Okay, yeah. I had a PO license for more than 25 years. So I have my license 2 years after coming to Canada, yes. But those folks who are coming from any place, anywhere in the world, sometimes they might take 10 years to get their license. Okay.
So only need the experience, also exam, both?
It is a combination of experience, and you have to take some courses. Maybe you miss some components, and because each candidate will be assessed, and then they're going to tell you what you need to do to meet that delta. Basically, I have a bachelor in mechanical engineering from Manchester.
Oh, okay.
And I have a master's in mechanical engineering from the City University in London. So both of them are in UK.
Okay, mechanically.
Yeah. So there's no issue at all, because Canada will accept a kind of British credentials.
Yeah.
I think Canada has to follow UK and not the
Okay,
other way around.
So what did you get at the end of the day when you volunteer all your time, energy to help people?
To do this volunteer work, I call it work, it demands commitment. You must really believe that you want to help. You can't just do a kind of a shorty job. You just can't say, I want to be a volunteer so you look good on your resume. That is the wrong approach. You must say that, hey, I have done well, and it's time for me to give back to the community, to the society. I think then you're not selfish, you're really generous. Because it can't be that in a world where you are doing well and the rest is just struggling. Let me just give you the analogy. It's like throwing a pebble in a river, and you know that it's going to create ripples.
Yeah.
You never know what actions, the result of the actions that you do, it could end up that this person that you help out will now become a useful member of society, as being just, rolling from place to place, without any firm place to go. Yes. So that is, to me, is the motivation. And I think those are all non-profit organizations. And like, for example, Rotary and Toastmasters, they have been around for 100 over years. What it means is that they must be doing something right for an organization to be still in existence after 100 years. And I'm really proud to be associated with such an organization.
How do you think of the Canada when you came here 20 years, 40 years ago?
Yeah.
And compared to now?
I think during our time, things were simpler. There was no internet then. That changed the dynamics in a lot of things. And because of internet, we had the cell phone, and again, that opened up a lot of avenue. I think the immigrants coming here in Canada, not just Canada, life is going to be much tougher. For example, housing is gone to the roof. In my time, if you have a job, you could afford to buy your first starter home. It could be a townhouse. But nowadays, you know that this is impossible, even for a couple who's supposed to be doing professional jobs. I don't know what's the solution, but I'm sure we could look at example from say, how do they resolve the problem of housing in Japan, for example? That's a good good way to start. Not that that is going to be the solution, but at least we may have to break the mold on the traditional way of thinking.
Because people is worried about the nuclear plant.
Sorry?
So I'm also curious about
Yes, yes. For somebody who's worked in the field for a couple of decades, you shouldn't worry. Let me put you at ease. There are a lot of systems, hundreds of systems, even thousands of systems. The major systems are triplicated. What I meant is that if one system fails, there's a second system which is going to take over. So we do practice defense in depth. It can't be catastrophic. Nuclear is really very safe. In terms of fatalities from nuclear accidents, there are few. You know, there are a lot of accidents in Toronto, in any big major cities. You know how many people die in a day, in a week? It's a lot. Do the public make any outcry? No, because we are so numb to it. Accidents, it happens. But really, in terms of nuclear, I want to say it is really very safe, very, very safe. I have been inside a nuclear power plant a couple of times. I'm going to tell you that in terms of the procedures, what they have to make, what you have to do for you to get access inside, it's amazing. It's second to none in terms of security. I also say that, hey, why it is so expensive? Why not spend on wind? But remember, the wind is just going to turn for a few hours. What do? Can you imagine the economy of Ontario dependent on whether we have wind or not? You need something which is really stable, which is there all the time. They're part of the solution, but they are not the solution. 58% of our needs in 2021 comes from nuclear. The province saved itself a lot of money, one aspect. The other aspect is about the greenhouse effect. There will be less people suffering from breathing disease, from asthma and whatnot. So there's a lot of benefits to nuclear. And also Canada is an exporter of this nuclear power. So we have our CANDU plants in China, in Korea, in Argentina and Romania.